is advised.
Hey everyone, this video is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering you a free audiobook with a 30-day free trial membership. All you need to do is go to audibletrial.com/bgunlocked. The link is in the description below, and now enjoy the video. Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and Brad and I are going to be doing our top 10 card games, which was a list that I believe we've talked about doing before, but it's such a broad topic where it's like, okay, what qualifies as a card game? But lately I have been really into card games. I've been enjoying a lot of them that are coming out. So I figured that we could narrow down the top 10 and just come up with our own criteria. So Brad, what was your idea whenever I said let's do top 10 card games?
What I did was I looked at all, because I love card-based games, but it did not make my list if the main thing was cards. So I took in deck builders because it's 100% cards, except for maybe a board sometimes or whatever.
Yeah.
So pretty much, if the components were mostly cards, I'm calling it a card game. And that did get rid of a lot of stuff in my... Because this list was long. I had probably 30 games on this list that I had to narrow down.
Yeah.
Because I got to thinking, I was like, okay, I got to get it to the 11. I was like, this one has used some miniatures, so I'll push that aside, different stuff. So this one has a little worker placement mechanic, so I'm not going to put that in there, even though cards is the main deal of it. So I just try to make it where cards were the main focus of the game.
Yeah. I pretty much did exactly that as well. However, I also excluded deck builders because one, I felt like for me that was just okay. Of course it's going to go in a card game thing. However, I look at what these card games do. That's what I would classify versus a deck builder, because the example that I gave earlier, because we were discussing this, was okay, well, Aeon's End, for example, it's that's, whenever you talk about that, do you say, oh, that's a good card game? You say, no, that's a good deck builder, because it's a mechanically different game. So I also, my criteria for kind of limiting was almost 100% cards, and are using the cards as combos, ways that you're actually, okay, I'm going to use this to do this, to do this. That's kind of how I was able to come up with my list. So I think we're going to have a wide array of games here. I think we will have 3 crossover. Yeah, I think we'll have 3, because I would
say probably 3 as well.
You and I essentially had the same idea. Maybe 4.
Yeah.
I think you and I had the same idea for this list, except I just went a little bit more. I was more stringent on my list. So we did do a top 10 deck builders, I believe. Deck/bag builders.
Yeah,
is what we did. So you can go check that out if you want to know my deck builders. So let's go ahead and get started. Brad, you can start.
All right, my honorable mention is a game that we both own. There's multiple versions of this game out, and it's Epic Spell Wars.
I didn't even think of Epic Spell Wars. That's funny,
because it's just that
is a good one though.
Yeah, it made honorable mention because it's a beer and pretzels game. I mean, it's fun. You play it with a bunch of people. You just and I don't know if you play it by announcing the name of the spell.
We usually start like that, and then it's okay, this is extremely annoying. I'm just gonna say what I'm doing.
But it's just just a dumb fun game. I only have the first 2 boxes.
I have all of it.
I know I need the other ones
and
too.
I just sleeved it all too.
Really?
Yeah.
But this was one of the ones that popped in my head first, because it's unique by laying the 2 or 3 cards, 2 or 3 cards down, and you create something, and then it attack.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just the art is very unique. I need to get the deck builder version.
Deck builder is really good. I enjoy it. And fun fact, though, actually, you are able to condense everything into the deck building box. Cool. It's very tight, but you can do it.
Right.
So yeah, that's a good one. I didn't even think of that. that would have probably hit my criteria really well, because you use the cards as combos to be able to do a bunch of other things within the game. Awesome. My number 11 is a very weird one, and this is why it's my honorable mention, because it's technically a card game. You don't really use the cards for anything, but it's all 100% cards, and it's Seventh Continent.
I actually considered that.
Did you?
Okay. I hadn't played it enough yet to
Gotcha.
really,
You do have a copy, though, don't you? Yeah, that's right.
I have
that's right.
everything that's
That's
out
right,
there.
that's right. Because I kept asking you over and over, you play it yet? You play it yet? So the reason why it's my honorable mention, because it didn't quite fit my criteria, but it is a card game. Just a very weird one. In Seventh Continent, it's a survival, not really horror, mystery, I guess.
It's like Lost.
It's like Lost, yeah.
Kind of that theme.
You pick a curse, out of, like, if you have everything for it, there's like 16 or something, maybe not that high, but and then you set one of the cards. It's a whole box. Everything's cards, so the map will be cards as you explore, trying to figure out, trying to survive, trying to figure out, how to solve your curse. And each one is different, gives you a little bit of a hint, a little bit of some half-assed drawn map that you kind of have to look. This game is so good. I love it. I think they said like every curse has like 10,000 minutes of content, and I've played this game for like 4 or 5 2 to 3 hour sessions each, and I'm still on the first curse. And every single time I think, okay, yeah, I'm getting pretty close. I think I'm figuring it out. It's like, boom, okay, here's this whole new secret, area that now takes you over here, and you're like, where am I? Am I even narrowing it down? So to some people, they might hate that because there's no finite, okay, here's what I need to do next. I personally enjoy it. I very much enjoy this at 1 or 2 people. I think 2 people makes it a little bit more fun because you have someone to at least talk to. But as a solo game, it's amazing. Honorable mention because it's kind of an outlier of card games. It doesn't really count. It's not a deck builder where you put in, or it's not a combo off of cards. You do have a hand of cards, of items that you can craft and stuff, but it's not really the same thing. I just had to put it on the list. So that's my number 11.
All right. My number 10 is my first quasi deck builder. It's not a deck builder in traditional sense, but it is Blood Bowl Team Manager.
Okay.
You start off with a yes.
For the record, if their 10,000 minutes thing is true, that's 166 hours per curse. I don't know how true that is, but there you go. I'm never going to finish the first curse.
But it's Warhammer. So you pick a race to start off with, and it's football. So you are playing cards down on locations, think like Smash Up, where there's highlights that you're placing down things on, and you're battling for the football in each of these areas, and you're doing different, they do different things. The cards have different abilities. And then like after you resolve that game, then you if you won some or whatever, there's these little symbols that'll let you can get a card. You pick up a free agent, and it comes in. You I think you get to draw like however many helmets you had or whatever. You get to draw that many cards, and you get to pick one, and then that goes on top of your deck, and that'll be the first one that comes out. So you can and you're recruiting from other races. So if I'm the humans, and there's different leagues. One league is like the humans, the dwarves, the stuff like that, and then the other league has like the chaos marauders and all that different stuff. But and you're creating your football team in a way, and it's just an area control smash up style free for all.
Okay.
But it's all card based, and it makes a lot of my list just because it's hilarious fun too, because you're like doing this, you fumbled the ball, and there is a couple of dice, which is why it was higher up on here, because I didn't want to. The dice are pretty much just if you tackle them, you play it, and then you roll the dice and whatever. But
funny enough, I don't think any of my games actually include other components.
Yeah, and that's why it was. So
I didn't make that a component. Like you could have picked, whatever. I know it's not on either release. You could have picked Street Masters technically, because the majority, the main focus of the game is cards.
Right.
But I wouldn't pick like Gloomhaven or something.
No.
Because it's like cards are an accessory to everything else. So stuff like that.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, go ahead.
No, that's it. It's just, it's one that I think you would enjoy playing.
I want to try that one. And then whenever you mention another game on your list, I want to try that one too.
Whenever I mention a game on my
list.
list.
I know what's going to be on your list. I'll be very surprised.
Did I forget something?
Oh, well, maybe.
I don't know.
You talk about it a lot, surprisingly. I think they're coming out with another a Kickstarter soon. But we'll see. Hopefully I remember what game I'm thinking of, but if it's not on your list.
All right.
All right, because I tried our friend Chad kept talking about the Blood Bowl board game.
Yes.
And that seemed like it would just piss me off.
It's just a miniatures. That was just a miniatures.
Right. That's why every time you mention this one, I'm like...
Just because you roll the dice bad like he does. It's.
I know, and that would be my luck. And I'd be like, I hate this game.
There's a lot of tactical in that because you set up blockers and you...
Oh, okay.
So this one... It's not like
this.
This is the funner version, the card game.
Gotcha.
You just play it. You don't have to worry about all the stuff. It's just you know.
Yeah.
But
So
it's good.
All right, my number 10 is actually I changed it to where I think we'll have 4 crossover. If you thought of this one, because it was interesting. Because I didn't initially think of this game when I thought of card games, but it works because everything about it is cards, and that is Seven Wonders. So Seven Wonders is an oldie but a goodie. Where you are drafting cards, and it's kind of a Civ kind of style game where you are drafting cards that will allow you to either go up in military or get resources, which then allow you to buy other component or other cards to be able to then try and build your wonder and then have the most points by the end of the game. What makes Seven Wonders so fantastic is of how streamlined and like efficient the game is. Like this one, when I was thinking card games, I was like, man, do I want to put Seven Wonders on there? Because like this one is going to feel like the outlier, not counting Seventh Continent, from the rest of them. And I was like, yeah, because there's like almost no negative to Seven Wonders.
Right.
All the expansions add just more cards, leaders that can help you, that you draft the leaders and you can bring them out each era. That'll help you in there. The only expansion I don't really care for is the Babel one, where the laws are kind of thrown in. That one just, it's all right. And then the new one, the Armada expansion, is really good too, which allows you to kind of control these 4 ships on different tracks, depending on the one. Okay, well now you can do naval combat or go exploring or things that kind of make it a little bit more Civ style. So... yeah, this one is just a phenomenal drafting game that I really don't play as often as I should.
It's my wife's favorite game of all time. Like it's crazy because you can play it, up to 7 players, and the game takes the same amount of time.
Yeah,
I mean, not counting the scoring at the end because sometimes that drags a little bit. But like I play tested the iOS app.
Yeah,
and you can play a game on that app. A full game in 5 minutes or less.
That's insane.
Because you just pick a card.
That's true. Yeah.
Pick a card.
Yeah.
Pick a card. Done.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then it calculates the score and everything. It's just like, it's such a simple game, but there's so much.
There's so much meat to it.
Stuff,
yeah. So much versatility. It's not like, kind of like where Seven Wonders Duel, where it's like, okay, if you get all these science ones, you auto win. There's none of that in Seven Wonders. You're going to get a lot of points.
You pretty much can win if you get all the science in that.
But
too.
I mean, if you constantly lose at war, it's just like, all right, well, I'm victorious in science, but it's like, I'm getting negative 40 points because I lost in every war to everyone. So it's pretty interesting. I very much like Seven Wonders, and I like the different the variety of wonders that actually can drastically change how you're going to play the game. So. Yeah, Seven Wonders is fantastic, so that's my number 10.
All right. My number 9 is another deck builder that I don't think you've played yet. I think you would enjoy it, though.
Okay.
And it's Thunderstone Quest.
No. Wait, is that a deck builder?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
No, I want to do the all-in for their latest one. I need to find it.
I have it, and I have the Barricades expansion, which lets you play a cooperative.
That's AEG, isn't it?
Yes.
They'll probably release it at retail anyway.
What?
AEG.
Just everything's out at retail.
Their latest Kickstarter shouldn't be.
Well, no, I guess not.
Yeah, but I mean, they probably will release it.
Has the first 3 storylines, and then 4, 5, and 6 are released, and then Barricades is out.
That one seems easier to release than like Edge of Darkness, like on retail. So I'm hoping they do. But yeah, that's one I do really want to try.
It's but yeah, you pretty much there's been an evolution from Dominion type deck building, because Dominion was the first deck builder kind of, and then Thunderstone, the original Thunderstone, came out and took Dominion and put a theme on it.
Yeah.
And then they went to Thunderstone Advance, which I had a lot of it, and it was awesome. And then they abandoned that, and everybody's like, what's going on? Then they did Thunderstone Quest, which brings actual stories into it, and scenario, campaign type stuff, and little miniatures. But what's cool about it is you start off with like an avatar of a person, and then as you build them up, they can level up, and you flip them, and they become more powerful deals, and you're creating your deck, and there's the whole light, torch bearing light, because as you work further down into the caverns, you have to have more light, or else you're at a disadvantage when you are fighting and stuff. And it's very thematic. I want to play it more. I haven't played it enough.
Can you play it solo?
Only with the Barricades expansion.
Oh, okay.
Because what it does then is that Barricades turns it into like a tower defense.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So there's like stuff's coming, you're going, but it makes it cooperative or so, obviously.
Okay.
So that's why I got the Barricades, because the one thing that upset me, and I was going to go all in on the Kickstarter of this. Yeah. Because I was hoping that maybe they'll do a solo mode. Because it being a competitive deck builder, it didn't really work for me.
Right.
And Barricades did not come out until after the Kickstarter was over.
Okay.
For that one. Now, that's next Kickstarter, it was
included. It was all in there.
But then they're like, oh yeah, we're working on this Barricades mode and stuff, so I just bought it retail, because there's not much exclusive Kickstarter exclusive.
Did you end up selling your Edge of Darkness?
Not yet.
Don't play it solo mode. It is really good. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, it's like if you because anyway, like Edge of Darkness isn't on my list because it's
got a lot of stuff to it.
No, it's actually a 100% card game. It could have made this list. It's actually card crafting, which is essentially deck building. Yeah. Like, so it didn't make it for my weird criteria.
The cubes and stuff would have pushed it off for me.
Oh, really? Well, that's specifically for...
No, I know.
Okay.
But when I was narrowing it down, if it had stuff like that,
gotcha.
So I pushed it off.
Well, Blood Bowl has dice.
Yeah.
So
that's why. Yeah.
But yeah, so like... They probably were trying to figure out how do we make this competitive card game into a solo mode, and they did it with Edge of Darkness, so it makes sense that came out before this did, so they were probably working around that. Yeah, like that one I love, because here's the thing about card games that make them so elegant is that, so I have the Joan of Arc stuff right here. It's like 3, 4, 5. It's 7 massive boxes of shit. That's not even everything for all those minis. It's like, where am I going to put that? What am I going to do with it? They're just going to sit around until I decide to play a scenario that actually includes them. With cards, you get that much versatility. You get beautiful artwork. You get amazing combinations, fun ways to play your deck or your strategy, and it can be condensed. It can all be in one box, or 2 if you have a bunch of stuff. So that's just another praise I have for card games. That's why Thunderstone Quest I really want, because it's like, that's a lot of cards. That's a lot of stuff that I can be like, oh, let's add this. Let's put this in.
Yeah, because you almost need the randomizers, because there's so much different stuff.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but it's fun.
Awesome. My number 9 is a game that you don't like, and I'm so surprised that you actually don't. And it is Res Arcana. So
I was just about hurt with that. I need to play it more.
Well, funny enough, actually, so because I was in a similar boat that you were in, and I think the expansion might have actually fixed one of your issues, because you had a card that specifically required you to have a dragon, right? Well, they included a magic item that you can tap. It's called Illusion, that lets you treat a card as if it was a dragon. Yeah. So they probably realized that it was like, oh, you can get a card that just is, you have an 8-card deck and you have 1 card that does nothing. And in a game that's so tight like Res Arcana, you need all 8. And how are you going to use all 8? So they probably were like, oh, okay, well that's really the one complaint.
Right.
Here's a way to fix it. Res Arcana is amazing. Tom Lehman's latest design. He's the one who did Race and did he do Roll? Race for the Galaxy?
Sure,
I think he did. I think he did both.
All of them, yeah.
And I've never played Race, but I have played Roll for the Galaxy, which is obviously a different game. So Res Arcana is a game where you are you get a mage that has a special ability, and then you get a deck, if you can really call it that. You have 8 cards, and at the beginning of the game, you look at all 8 cards to try and figure out combos of them, shuffle it up, draw 3, and you compete against the other players where first 1 to 10 points. And this whole thing, because I love engines like in games, and that's where a lot of card games can kind of come into. And this is just that. You try to find the best engine with the 8 cards that you have. So there's a bunch of variety because there's a deck about that big, 8 cards per player. I love this game at 2. Mm-hmm. And then the expansion, they also kind of cleaned it up a little bit better. Not cleaned it, but they made it tighter at 2 players. And you just try and find an engine. You're using these together, gather resources which you need to be able to spend to buy monuments or buy places of power. The places of power where you're going to get the most of your points, but they're super expensive to get. You have to follow some criteria to actually put points on them. And yeah, whenever Kat and I were playing, funny enough, just yesterday, she had a shit ton of dragons and happened to get the Dragon Palace that, okay, well, she taps the dragon, puts 2 gold on it, gets a point for every gold on it. So I was like, oh no. So I had to quickly try to ramp up. I had a very slow engine. She popped hers off a lot quicker. I think the final score was 11-7. So, like, it was still very close. Yeah, I love this game, and I'm so glad that it looks like they're like Expansion 1, so they're most likely just going to keep doing more, which I am perfectly fine with because, yeah, I mean, with a game like this, there is a chance that you could just get, your opponent just gets a random set of 8 better than you do, and your house rule is like, okay, we'll do 10, pick 8. I think either of that would be fine.
Yeah.
But there's other ways to fix the mitigation, places of power, or the monuments that you can get that could potentially make your engine even better. So yeah, that's my number 9, Res Arcana. Love it.
All right, my number 8 I think will be on your list if you're considering it the way I did, and that is Smash Up. I mean, at this point, it's been going for so long. There's so many factions, and I think each faction has, 20, 25
something
cards,
like that.
maybe
I think it's
something
20,
like
that.
Yeah. Infinite amount of combinations you can make.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those that you need to play it with 3. I think
3
is about the best number.
Yeah. 3 or 4.
Yeah.
3's the best number by far.
4 is almost
4 gets a little
too
crazy.
Many. 2's not enough because there's,
3
3's good because you can still have that stuff, but you're just shoving factions to get 2 factions decks together.
Mm-hmm.
They're minions and actions, and you can do one of each turn, and you're fighting over bases and trying to score, I think, 15 points. I think is the deal, and it's just nuts. I mean, you have every faction out.
I have everything,
except
yeah.
I don't have there's another promo pack of penguins. I have
that. Yeah.
So I didn't get the penguins.
I got it. I think I got it when I was at Gen Con last.
Because I have the sheep and stuff like that, but I don't have the penguins. But other than that, I mean, it's all cards except for I guess the scoring chits. But that's there. You get those combos. You get the everything. They work well together, especially when you can get the cool base abilities to as you're putting stuff out if they do stuff.
Yeah.
To hinder or
aid.
Yeah. It's just craziness. Whoever came up with this idea, because I mean it just sells and keeps selling, and people just keep, because it's what, $17, $18 to buy.
Yeah, it's like super cheap too, and
they sell a bunch of them.
Right?
And it's they can just keep coming out with shit.
And well, they also just signed with USAopoly, didn't they? So now they're gonna get IPs. I think they just announced Marvel.
Yeah, it'll be Marvel. Is the one they're getting.
So I actually brought this up to a friend of mine. He loves Smash Up as well, And he was like, "Oh, how's that going to work?" Because a lot of their factions are playoffs of those.
Yeah,
like they have Power Rangers.
They have the superheroes.
Yeah, they have
already.
superheroes already there. So I think it's.
I hope it's a standalone. I don't want it to be like the Munchkin.
Right.
Because the Munchkin one was a standalone.
Yeah, and it was bad.
Yeah. That didn't keep me from not owning it. I still have it. But
yeah, I do too.
I just never use the deals.
It's just there.
It's my completionist deal. But yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with Marvel. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of different stuff that they can.
Because if they got Marvel, then they're going to get Star Wars. And then they're
but the Star Wars can't be done in the U.S.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the only Fantasy Flight has cornered that.
Right.
Anything that Oz has is
the Dark
overseas.
Star Wars. What was it? Dark Side
Rising.
That was in Europe, right?
Yeah, and then the Talisman 3 theme with Star Wars is going to be in Europe too.
Okay.
The only way it'll come over here is if you port it over here, which is how I got mine.
Gotcha. So if not Star Wars, we're going to get Harry Potter.
Yes. It'll be Harry Potter. They have the Die Hard license. I mean,
Die Hard.
Terrorists. We'll have the terrorist group.
God.
They had that one game that you. I don't know if there's factions. I don't know much about it. The Court of the Dead.
Oh.
They have the Batman.
The
Batman talisman they've done over here. I mean, they have some themes.
Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah. I just don't know how they're gonna throw it in.
Yeah.
I hope they don't.
I know they're gonna capitalize on the Marvel, thing, how that's big right now, but it's like, look, I loved Smash Up for the fact that it's like, you knew that this was obviously Pokemon, but they didn't have the rights to Pokemon, so they did a funny play on that. Exactly. I like that. It's gonna be weird to be like, okay, I have Sheep and
Flash
and Iron Man, and Iron Man. It's like, okay, that's weird. I'll still get it because I'm sick, but
the thing I liked about how AEG has done with this franchise is they've listened to the community with Smash Up. Like a handful of years ago, they had that tournament. Remember, like you could had everybody submit a bunch of ideas, and the ones that got the most, they did a tournament style, like March Madness.
Right.
And then that's how they figured the pack. That was the oops, you did it, or oops, or it's your fault. Because we picked the four, and then they threw in, I think, the tornadoes.
Yep, the shark and the tornadoes.
So it's just like they've done that. I hope they surely aren't out of ideas.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think a Smash Up Marvel would be really cool. I just think it needs to be its own separate thing and not incorporated with this.
Yeah,
that would be my one.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, but we'll see. Anyway, Smash Up. It's all cards, all fun.
Yep. Good choice. My number 8 is a game that has all but been forgotten. I think at this point it's pretty much dead in the water. No one talks about it, but it's still a phenomenal card comboing game, and that is Elysium. So
such a good game.
It is. So Elysium is, funny enough, kind of a smash up kind of thing, where you take 4 gods or 4 god decks, depending on how you want the game to be played. So the game is obviously it's a certain number of rounds, and then you gain points at the end of the game. Where you take 4 gods, you shuffle those cards all together, and then that's the deck that people will be getting cards from. So you put so many in a pool that people can purchase from, and then in turn order you take a card, and then the cards that you can take, you have 4 colored pillars that. Okay, well, I have these 4 colors available, therefore I can pick whatever. I'm going to take this card, put it up top where I can use its ability, and then you have to get rid of one of those 4. It doesn't have to be a color that matches one of the ones from the card you picked, but that's going to slowly start narrowing down what options of cards that you can take. What makes this game so good, besides the fact that you can get so many combos of all the cards that are above your Elysium, is that at some point to actually get points off of these cards, you have to decide to move them down underneath, where you no longer will get the ability, but you will start gathering like these families, whether it's a family of the Greek gods, or I can't remember what the other option was. It's either like
there's a term for it, wasn't it? Like when you move them down. I can't remember what the term.
Yeah, I don't remember what the term's called, but it's like it becomes then a set collection. So you either collect numbers, I think 1 to 5. Or families, which are the types of Greek gods, and that's how you're going to get a bunch of points at the end too. This game is awesome because the combination of the 4 out of the 8, there's either 8 or 10 total Greek gods, is going to radically change. And with something that this company did that was really cool was at the back of the book, they tell you, okay, what kind of game do you want? Do you want a really cutthroat game? Use these gods. Do you want an alternate way to score points? Use these gods. Do you want a high scoring game? Use these cards. And that's so interesting because not a lot of games do that. They just have you figure it out. But sometimes you want to look and be like, man, what kind of game do we want to play? Let's be mean. All right, let's use these. And just that decision of, okay, well, I can really still start using, I can keep using this ability, but the game's getting close, I really should move it down, is an awesome choice. So, yeah, and I remember there was talks of an expansion at some point, but I think this is Space Cowboys. So I think they're really busy just putting shit in a box for time stories. So they're busy doing that. I understand. They don't have time for good games, so they're doing time stories. So that's my number 8, Elysium.
That's sad.
It really is.
My number 7 is another deck builder that we were talking about earlier, and it's Aeon.
Oh, okay.
At this point, because I haven't even played all this stuff yet. I mean...
Right. I remember you were asking about Legacy. I haven't
played Legacy yet. I haven't even gotten into the... Was it the Expedition stuff? Or from the last...
Oh,
the little...
Oh, crap. What did they call it? I don't remember what they called that little mini campaign thing.
But everything I like about deck building is perfect with this. Mm-hmm. And it adds even the breach cards. What do they call those?
What?
the things that when you're prepping your spells, what do they call those?
Oh, breaches.
Breaches, yeah. But they're it's a breach.
Right.
Yeah. So you're doing your deck building, buying your gems or your spells, whatever, and then you prep a spell in the breach, do all that stuff. All the while you're getting attacked by or screwed around with by whatever nemesis is sitting out there. Mm-hmm. And this has been on several lists before. Along the lines where it's one of those where it turns the deck building up on its head by you placing the cards into your discard, and then you just flip the whole pile over instead of shuffling it at the end. But yeah, I mean, it's just the theme in this one is so much better than
a lot of other deck builders.
Excuse me. But yeah, and the artwork and everything. I'm waiting on the next Kickstarter that's coming in.
Yeah, New Age. Is that what it's called? Or is that the latest one? They've done so many and the cool thing is, I guess it depends on how you look at it. Each expansion they've done has always been a standalone.
Oh yeah.
So like if an expansion comes out, you don't have to go out and immediately buy, all 4 other expansions that came before it. You can just be like, okay, I'm just gonna get this one because they put enough content in the standalone where you don't need the other stuff. Of course, if you do have the other stuff, then you just have that much more cards to use. Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely.
So many cards.
It's
ridiculous.
So many cards, so many different combinations when it comes to, because what you can have randomizers. Mm-hmm. So you're like, I'm gonna shuffle these randomizers for the gems, boom, boom, boom. Then see how, and you not only do you have a completely different way to play with this type of spell or this market selection, then you pair that with the random nameless that you fight in his deck of also random cards. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, this game is phenomenal.
Every Kickstarter that comes out, they have that little add-on that's, these are the dividers and all the cards you need, so every person has their own deck to start off with. So,
yes, that is so nice.
So I do that because then every single Breach Mage has their own deck just ready to pull out and roll.
Yep. The one massive negative with this is there is no storage solution at all. You can fit everything to date in the Legacy box. It's weird, and I hate it, and I'm probably going to do a different storage solution that I do with like Arkham, which is I know you said with the insert you'll have to do something different, but you can just easily just cut a section out where the nameless are going to go. But I mean, their Legacy was a letdown. I didn't really care for it. I really don't even plan on ever using the mage that I made. But with their expansion that came out after that, that little mini thing, the mini Legacy thing, that was really good. So, and those 4 or 5 things, was already better than what the whole Legacy campaign gave.
Yeah. So anyway, it's probably the most unique deck builder that I think that's out there, just because of all the prepping of spells and the way you can set the way you play your cards into your discards. You can plan for that, and the turn order mechanism where you don't know who's going to go at what time. I think that's why it.
See, and that's the really cool thing. It's like that turn order thing, because that's supposed to kind of represent the fog of war. Is like, okay, we don't know who's going to go, so we can't plan. Okay, it's Nameless twice, and then us, or it alternates. That's a way better thing than just being like, oh, you can't talk to each other. It's like, great, that's what I love to do, is sit around with my friends and not talk to them.
Right.
Like, we're playing a cooperative game and I can't even cooperate. But you can't do that in real fight. It's like, yeah, you can. You really could.
Cover my ass.
Yeah, that's it. So at least like that represented in such a way that it still makes it extremely challenging without also it being fake.
Yeah, the one time we played together, even though that one card flip, that sold me on it because I bought the game.
Right, you're like, oh, so how do I find this? Yeah, that's a really good one. All right, my number 7 is, I don't know if you've played this game, but it was one that I was like, okay, there's a bunch of cards for it. There's a huge variety of different factions to play with, and that's going to alternate how the game is played. And that is Enchanters Overlords.
I want to. I haven't played it yet.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
It is. It's fun, and I don't. We actually just played this again because I got the expansion. Well, I got the latest Kickstarter, and actually Mythic Games is helping out with their new Kickstarter that'll be coming out soon. But Enchanters, what you are, it's a competitive game where you are trying to get the most points by the end. But how you do this is each person picks a faction that's going to go into it, and so you take a faction of like the one we just did was slimes, mages, and gnolls, and you take all their cards and you shuffle that into one deck, and then cards go down like a track, and you spend gems that go so the first card closest to our base that we're trying to kind of protect, that's free because we can get there. So that's like the journey track. Right. It's like, okay, so to go to the further one, you have to spend more gems to be able to get to it. And really what you're doing, you're just making combinations of like items that you are going to use to be able to fight the minions, which will get you points at the end of the game. So that in and of itself is just a blast, getting those different combinations of, okay, here's the item and here's the enchantment on it that's going to give me this ability with also more defense and also more attack, which I need. But over time, okay, I have this item. If you take another item, you cover that. So if it has an ability, well, you lost the ability. But at the bottom, it gives you a permanent strength. So over the course of the game, you'll slowly be going up in tracks. This game is a blast. I really love that smash up idea of like taking all these factions, shuffling them together, and then just seeing what happens, because that's just gonna add so much variety to the game. Then they added Overlords, which is just it just adds like a boss that most likely doesn't do anything. He only does stuff is like, so whenever you rest, the closest card gets discarded. And if it's a minion or a dragon, then the Overlord will have an ability depending on whether it's a minion or a dragon. So like that's whenever he can come into play. But then you can also go out and fight him, and if you fight him, you get an ability because if you beat him. It's very clean, very streamlined. Every time I've played it, the points between players is always really close. And there's a bunch of stuff, bunch of factions to throw in. I really like that card crafting kind of mechanism that they have in there. So yeah, it's so much fun. I really like it. Component quality, it's okay.
Right.
I mean, the game, when I backed it, actually came out really quick, so I appreciate that. The artwork is really good, it's just the quality is not the best. So I sleeved it.
Yeah.
Made it easier. So yeah, that's my number 7, Enchanters Overlords.
Alright. My number 6 is a crossover.
Oh shit! Is it 7 Wonders?
Yes. Yeah. 7 Wonders had to make this list, just because I think I've played it. It's the second most played game on my list.
On the list.
It's one that just constantly will hit the table.
Yeah.
With my wife and I, you know.
And I can't remember. Do you like Seven Wonders or Seven Wonders Duel better?
I like them both. If I am at two players, Duel.
Oh, sure.
More than 2 players.
Yeah.
Seven Wonders. I mean, you know, I don't care for the 2-player variant and the Seven Wonders original. Mm-hmm. So if I'm going to play Seven Wonders and it's just me and her, then we'll play Duel.
Gotcha.
But I like them both. They're both really close to each other.
Okay.
With the Pantheon expansion.
Yeah.
That would be. But anyway, I have everything for this except for Armada. And it's kind of a thing. Right now I'm just like, I bought the wooden insert and everything that covered Babel and everything. Yeah. And I'm just like...
They have a wooden insert for Armada.
I know, but it's just like, I don't want to pay space is too big of a premium right now for me, and that's why I'm getting rid of a bunch of stuff. And I'm just like, I'm not going to buy that because then I'll want to,
right?
You know, but I'll get it eventually. But yeah, Seven Wonders is just that. It's the one that got me into the drafting stuff, you know, because I think that's the main reason why I like Blood Rage is because of the drafting and all that stuff. Is such a smooth, elegant game. That there's a lot of different paths you can take, and games are constantly different.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Yep, I knew that was going to be on your list.
Yeah.
It'd be weird if it wasn't. All right, my number 6 is my first deck constructing game, and that is, of course, Magic the Gathering. So, Magic, of course, had to go on the card games list, because when you talk about the criteria that I had, where it's just combos of cards, that's all Magic is. And specifically, there's so many Magic's been around since 93. It's 25 years old. It's all but perfected at this point. I know whenever they release new content, it breaks it, but then they either make it and then ban it. There's so many different ways to play Magic: Standard, Modern, Pauper, Commander, Two-Headed Giant. There's just so many different fucking ways to play that. Or if people get upset about, they keep banning this. Okay, well, there's a tournament or a way where you can just play with whatever. My favorite way, and because I used to hate Magic, what got me back into it was what's called Commander, which is 100 card decks, 99 actually, and you have your one Commander that is off on the sideboard, and that you can keep bringing him out, and you kind of construct your deck around your Commander. Everyone has 40 hit points. It allows for everyone to do these big swinging turns where it's like, I'm gonna do this, and this, and then if it doesn't work, then it's like, oh crap, now I'm the target. So if I didn't win in this turn, then everyone actually kind of has their moments. It also helps that I was actually pretty decent at making these decks. That some of the ones that I made, not all of them, because I went kind of crazy for a while. I had like 6 or 7 decks. Probably 2 or 3 of them were really good, and then the rest were okay at best. But yeah, I essentially quit playing Magic because one, the people I was playing with, I don't play with anymore, and it's expensive. Like, it is by far the most expensive game any hobbyist will get into. I don't care if it's Kingdom Death Monster, that 3,200 is dog shit compared to some people's decks.
Magic, it's what keeps game stores afloat.
That's true.
I mean, that's you have to sell Magic.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah,
to stay. That's
actually a good point. Yeah, if you're not selling Magic, and if you're also really not hosting tournaments of Magic, you're not really helping out. But yeah, I love Commander. I actually the best deck that I've ever played was actually not even one that I made. It was a friend who made it, but he had so many dual and shock lands that are like insanely expensive that I just made what do they call it? Proxies? No, is that right?
Yeah.
Fake cards. Yeah, I just made a fake deck of it because I'm like, okay, why not? Like, I'm not going to tournaments with it. I just want to have it without having to pay for it. So yeah, Magic combinations out the ass. It's like unlimited, really replayability, variety. Just you think of a theme, you find it, especially in Commander, you find a legendary creature. There you go. And with Commander it's becoming more and more popular. It's becoming probably more going to be more mainstream tournaments. So that's really cool.
I think you would enjoy. I should have brought it. I think you would enjoy Epic the card game that White Wizard does.
Oh, is that the other one?
That's just that one deck. That little box game.
Yeah.
Because it's like Magic. Obviously the guy that created it was a Magic pro, but every card is like the most
the guy who
card.
created Epic. I think talking about the guy who created Magic as a pro, and I'm like
Epic.
I'm like, I don't think Richard Garfield plays.
But no, what it is every single card is like an overpowered card in Magic.
Oh, okay.
And you have one coin to spend each turn, and you're battling back and forth trying to kill them. So it's like
that's
just drop a hammer for a ton of hit points, and then they drop a hammer and counter, and it's just like it's all heavy hitters. That's why it's called Epic. It's fun. I mean, I'll bring it sometime. We'll try it because it's not on this list.
Right.
But I demoed it a lot when I was working there last year, and
gotcha.
It's a fun game.
Yeah, that does sound fun. Yeah, because what's his name? The guy who created
Rob Doherty.
Yeah, that's it. He was a pro for a while. And actually, what I'm really interested in is Magic is about the White Wizard, not White Wizard, Wizards of the Coast is about to release called Magic Jumpstart, which all you do, I think, is you just take like two factions or two decks and you just shuffle them together, and then you're like, great, now I can play Magic. It's, from what I've heard, it's their, I don't even know why they need to do this, but the way it was phrased to me was that it's their answer to Keyforge. That it's like, okay, now Keyforge, you can just buy a deck, and then you play that deck. That's what they're doing with this Jumpstart thing.
I don't think Keyforge is much of a threat to them.
It really isn't. They're just probably like, hey, by the way, here's your idea. Okay, here's ours. And wow, it's already better.
We're already standing on your guys' throat.
Let's do the finishing blow. And everyone's going to be like, Keyforge? What's that? Oh, that shit Jumpstart ripoff? Everyone's going to forget that Jumpstart came out after. Yeah. But yeah, so that's my number 6, Magic the Gathering.
All right. My number 5 would not be on this list without the campaign expansions that are out now. And that is Hero Realms.
Oh, yeah, okay. Hero Realms was on my list, and I was like, oh, no, it's a deck builder.
Right. Hero Realms by itself is a competitive 1v1 deck builder, but then they came out with these 2 campaigns that are fun campaigns.
They are, yeah.
I haven't messed with the second one yet, but...
have you finished the first one, though?
Yeah. I've actually played through it a few times,
really,
making different choices to do different, but so it brings in the Hero Realm system, which it's Star Realms just in fantasy. I mean, it's more or less what it is. But then this brings in that cooperative or solo, where you're working through a story, and you, depending on what you do in the story, will change if you're going to fight this person or this person. You make choices. You can upgrade your deck. You get powerful items. It's such a simplistic game in itself, but then when you throw in that campaign deal and stuff, I mean, the campaign book is like, it's not anything like your book there.
No, it's
just like a tiny little rule book.
Yeah.
But it has the story in it and everything, and it plays really smoothly. I
mean, it's a pretty generic story.
Oh yeah,
it is. But it was still fun.
But it's
quick too.
It is. And it's just a fun little simple campaign game. There isn't really many campaign. I mean, Thunderstone kind of is on my list, but everything else really isn't campaignish. But this,
yeah, I can't really think of any. There's games that have lore around it,
right.
But yeah, like to think of a campaign. Hero Realms is really good. I've played it both in the competitive and also the campaign. The competitive is really good too.
Yeah.
Very quick, very simple of a game.
Star Realms are virtually the same game.
It's just
different.
But then once again, Hero Realms has characters.
Right.
That are, once again, it's your generic fantasy. Fighter, rogue, ranger, whatever.
They do that with Star Realms now too.
Did they? Okay.
It's not as blatant, but they have that character deal.
But that's what made Hero Realms kind of like better than Star Realms initially, was you started off a little bit different. You had your own unique deck and your own abilities.
And you have to have those to do the campaign.
Yes.
You have to at least have one of the character.
Yeah. What'd you do your campaign with?
I was the warrior. Okay. I did two-handed on some side as warrior and cleric, I think.
Okay. See, I did wizard, and I was like, wizards usually aren't by themselves, so this will be interesting to see how
doing two-handed. That game's so easy to play two-handed though too. You just
that's true.
And stuff. So that's why. went through. But yeah, Hero Realms my number 5. It's especially with the campaigns.
Yep.
But yeah,
that's a good one. I like that game a lot. All right, my number 5 is probably the one that has the most extra thing. It has a board, kind of. I mean, it does technically, but and it has standees, and that's it. Everything else is centered around cards, and that is BattleCon: Devastation of Endines. And what I mean by a board, I mean it is a board where it just has hexes on it where your character standees go. That's it. I mean, I guess where your discarded cards go. But basically, this is the best game that I've played that captures a 2D fighting style game. There are so many different heroes that play radically different from one another. I mean, at this point, with their latest expansion, you're starting to see some similarities. They still play different, but it's like, oh, this one's kind of like this one, except he uses alcohol and they use potions. Mm-hmm. But it's so good because what you do is it's only a 2-player game, and you have your hand of special cards. Now, well, you have a set of unique cards to the hero, and then you have a common thing, which is like punch, kick, dive, dodge, duck, dive, dive, and dodge. And you pick 2 of those, and you pick a special attack, and you pick one of those, and then you combine them, and that's going to alternate your priority, your attack damage, and your speed. So, or whatever your defenses, and then you compare it to what your opponent does, and it's like, okay, well, if I go higher than them and I attack and I hit them, well, that can stun them, meaning their cards won't go off. But if they have a certain condition that they can take a certain amount of damage, that it won't stun them, then their cards will still go off. It's just the amount of combos that you can get, and the different types of heroes or fighters to fight one another. It's so cool because, like an actual video game, like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, things like that, it's like, okay, I'm really good with this hero, but he's bad against that type of fighter. So while I can be really good with this, it's like a perfect example is one. His name's Jaeger, and he's really good at like moving and getting behind the opponents and jumping back and forth. And my friend who I play with, he likes the big, heavy guys, so it's like, so he can't hit me. So it's those types of combos, and it's like there's one where it's all about getting that one quick jab. Doesn't do a lot of damage, but boom, I hit you first, you're stunned. So now you can't. Now you don't get to attack, and you just have to try and, okay, well, how am I going to get around that like you would a 2D fighter? They have also added, allies. You know how in some games where you can tag in like a second player, they've added that. They've added equipment. All that. It makes the game fiddly and cumbersome. The only thing I did like out of all their expansions was they have alternate costumes, which can change what they do. And then the best thing about this is like every character has like their own special move that with the new rule changes, it's going to change when you can do it. But the only unfortunate thing about this is I never get it to the table because it's kind of a pain to... It's not a pain to set up. It's so daunting because I have them all in like bags, and it's like I open it up, I'm like, ugh. But their Kickstarter should be getting delivered hopefully soon. It's supposed to be this big giant box where every hero has their tuck box with all their tokens and their cards in it. Cool. So you just open it up and you're like, I want this one and I want this one, and okay, now it's set up. And then they're gonna have this massive like lore art book from their weird anime fighter lore that makes no sense in their Endines world. But yeah, like when I thought of card games, I'm like, yeah, BattleCon will work. Yeah. So the only thing is, once again, you have a standee that kind of moves back and forth on this hex line, but that works for me.
All right.
Go ahead.
All right. My number 4 is the biggest rule breaker of how I made my list.
Okay.
And I had to put it on here because of its awesome card play.
All right.
Now this game has some boards, and you use some dice.
And some minis.
No minis.
And it has a coin.
Yes, standees. But the way that you construct your deck in this 1v1 game is super unique, and it is sorcerer.
That's right. Okay.
Because we were talking about card combos.
Yeah.
This is it.
I thought this was your number 1.
No. No,
it's not that good.
I love this game. I can't wait for the Kickstarter here in a week or two. But it does that smash up thing where you're going to take your sorcerer deck, you're going to take their domain deck, and then their lore deck, lineage, yeah. And so you pick 3 different things, you shuffle them together, and then you're going to have the top card of each of those decks will describe an ability that can be done wherever you have your whatever zone your standee for your sorcerer is at. So the combinations are crazy, especially if you have all the stuff that from the first Kickstarter, all those new decks and everything. It's just really strategic. I mean, you're placing stuff, you're attacking you place minions out. You have your little I guess upgrades or whatever you want to call, like the little attachments you can put on minions and stuff. The thing with it being 1v1, it didn't get played as much. But with this Kickstarter coming out, that's going to it's going to add more decks, several more decks to go into the 1v1. But it's also going to add a cooperative / solo campaign mode where you yourself or a group of people are taking on these. I think they're called man eaters or what they call them. They're these really dark, demonic, evil presence people, and they have their own decks. So you create their decks the same way you do.
That's neat.
So there's going to be his deck, whoever you choose. There's going to be like an army deck and a location deck or whatever. So they're going to have their own weird deck that they get popped out. So you're going to have these legions coming from them, and it could be different. So the replayability is just nuts on it. The art is second to none on these cards.
Yeah, they're really good.
And
they're really good.
Like I said, it has more components than what I wanted to, but when I knew we were making a card game list, I knew this had to be on there because... it's the game is cards.
Yeah, I mean everything about it, that's what I was saying. Everything about it, it's like those boards do nothing except track the health.
Right.
Like, I mean, in all reality, they shouldn't even be there because only if like 2 of them actually have abilities. So that's kind of lame. Yeah. I forgot a fucking game that would go on this list. I'm so upset. How did I not see it? Ugh, that bums me out. Guardians, my second honorable mention.
Oh yes.
Because I was sitting there.
Oh yeah, that made me forget too. I should have put Summoner Wars on.
No, that game sucks. No, Sorcerer's a good one. It's funny because I was sitting here and I was like, yeah, those abilities don't do those boards don't do anything. Unlike in Guardians.
Yeah, Sorcerer is a very good game. It bums me out that I didn't get to do Origins this year because I was going to be running the demos for it again.
Guardians probably would have. Yeah, it would have made this list. I love that game. It bums me. But hey, maybe with Plot Hat, bring it back. All right, my number 4 is our second crossover.
Smash Up.
It is Smash Up. No, it's Blood Bowl.
Yeah.
Actually, own everything for it. Yeah, so everything you said about Smash Up and everything that I tied into on Smash Up is 100% true. This game is the epitome of a card game. You have so much just that you can combo off with the combination of any 2. There's no rules, just pick 2. I have a randomizer just because it's more fun that way to see who everyone's getting. So many radically different ways to gain points, to have people lose points. Almost every expansion has been a hit. I personally love the Cthulhu expansion. Most people don't like it, and everyone doesn't like the Munchkin one, so I have it. It's just there. I have the giant playmat for it too, so that's nice to have. Now it's outdated because not everything's on it. But yeah, and I've actually done one Smash Up tournament where I got second. Second place, so that was fun. A new guy hit.
Combo.
No, I've done 2. I did one at Gen Con, and I did one at a local game store. The one for Gen Con, I came in second, and I did Tricksters and Mages. Because I was being it was round robin too, so I was at the end. So by the time it got to me, no one had taken them. So I was like, I got to pick mine and then pick mine again. So I'm like, do I want to really try and actually go strategic, or do I just want to be an asshole? And I'm like, no one picked them. So then whenever we got in our groups, we're all talking and we're like, oh, what do you get? And they're like, and I'm like, yeah, I got Tricksters and Mages, and they're like, you
Yeah.
you asshole, and I'm like, no one picked him.
I pick zombies anytime it's available.
Every time.
Yes.
It's good. And
I love zombies.
That's the kind of strat that it's like, okay, do I really want to try to win or do I just want to have fun with it? So Gen Con, that's the one I came in second. The one actually at the local one, I came in first. But I don't remember what my combo was for that. I want to say it was zombies and I think it was zombies pirates.
Yeah.
And that's a nasty combo.
I love playing out of your discard pile with the zombies.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's gross.
It's a slow starter because you've got to lose somebody into your pile first before.
But yeah, so just with those two, like if we just took those four and did tricksters and zombies, it would change how that deck plays.
Yep.
I love it. So yeah, that's my number 4 smash up.
Perfect. My number 3 is the last deck builder.
Oh, okay.
On the list, you can probably guess it because it's one of my top games.
Marvel.
Yeah, Marvel Legendary.
I mean, that one obviously should go on this list. I would have put it on had I not excluded deck builders.
Marvel Legendary. There's so. I mean, you would never, ever be able to play everything.
No, there's no way. I mean, you could play everything.
My stack of
masterminds.
The schemes.
Oh, schemes, yeah.
And each of those schemes is an entire way to play the game differently. Mm-hmm. You know,
now that doesn't mean they're all good.
No. Some of them are shit, but I mean, it's still ways.
Yeah.
You know, and then I mean,
man, there was one weird one because Kat and I were gonna play that. We did end up playing it one time, but there was one where there was no track. There was no, city and all that. Everyone had their own unique one. It was like parallel universe. Everyone had their own one. And I was like...
Or it was one of the Secret Wars ones, probably.
I think it was, actually, because I was trying to look it up, because I'm like, okay, so how does this work if, like, this card says it goes in the city, but there is no city, So I was like, we're just not going to do that one.
Yeah, there's just so much to this. I mean, you have to almost have the app, the randomizer app, because it constantly gets updated, it's up to date right now with everything, and you just... Because there's so much.
Last time we played Kat and I just looked down and we're like, okay, you pick one and then I'll pick one. I did the randomizer and then I was like, okay, we're not going to use this. Kat, you pick one and you pick one to take out. And that was kind of fun.
What is interesting though, I just did it last night. There's a poll going around. There's this company was saying, what would you rather have? One huge storage deal for everything and all
like
expansions,
Marvel Legendary?
For Marvel Legendary, or storage solutions for like 2 to 3 big boxes. And of course, 81% of the people are saying they want one huge thing. So I don't know what that's going to mean, but it's somebody's talking about it. So
they're going to have to.
Because I'm in 5 boxes right now. I mean, I sleeve everything.
I'm in 2. I'm in 2 of my wooden carrying cases.
Yes, I have the original square base box, I have the villains base box, and I have 3 or 4 of the big expansion boxes.
Yeah, see, I was gonna do that, but like there's a guy on Board Game, he makes dividers that are awesome, and he's always up to date. Like 2 expansions just came out for it, and so I have one case that has all the heroes in it, and then I have another case that has all the villains, the henchmen, the masterminds, and all that. So I'm able to organize it in such a neat way with the dividers.
Yeah, I print them off too on cardstock and cut them out because it has if it's the same similar, that has the symbols that the hero is.
It's the exact same guy. But yeah, with that big storage thing, they're gonna have to make it astronomically big in prep for expansions. Because there's constant expansions. Now, lately, they've all been really little, like small ones, but I think World War Hulk was the last big one they did.
Yeah, because they actually they're not doing big box expansions anymore.
Okay.
They're going to come out like, there's the normal kind, like the ones like S.H.I.E.L.D. and Asgard stuff, but then there's that Revelations, which was twice, the box wasn't much bigger, but it had twice as many cards as the others, and I think they're going to lean towards doing the Revelations size.
Gotcha.
Because... there's
the big box ones.
Well, I think they've gotten so. I mean, they can only. There's only so many heroes. I mean,
it's true.
You've got true. So if you come out in smaller, I mean, they're doing Shield. I mean, they're getting, they're getting.
They're getting really desperate. You got Agent Coulson. Ooh, and who the fuck is this?
I mean, that one, the Dimensions one, had Howard the fucking Duck in it.
Dude, come on. You can't shit on Howard.
I know, but it's like, I know he's Marvel, but it's just...
Yeah, it's getting really crazy. I mean, at this point, they're just going to keep doing variants of the same hero.
Yeah, as long as they don't do the real art ones. I mean, I have the Homecoming.
I did not buy that, yeah.
I have Homecoming just because it had different cards, but I like the other core box they came out with, the MCU one.
Yeah.
That was just pretty... I mean, there was a few new cards in it, but the rest of it was just...
Yeah, I mean,
the others I didn't
very few games can do that photo stock kind of stuff. Like, I like the comic book art. Yeah. That one's a really good one.
I had the old original core box where... because, I don't know, yours is probably the updated one.
I think so.
Because the original one, when I first bought it, like, the Spider-Man cards... was all the same art on all the cards.
Oh, yeah.
And they just had, like, green shading on the outside, red shading, blue
yeah.
shading, but it was all the same art.
Yeah, God.
And then they had complaints, and they came out with then the other core sets from then on were, like, the unique arts per card, 4 of this card, whatever, for the same art. So mine's the original, like...
That's rough.
Those core ones are all the same.
Sorry.
Well, no, I mean, it's kind of neat in a way,
not.
too.
No,
but...
it's not. You're in denial. It's not. Who the hell says the same art is cool?
Well, and mine's the one that has... Do you have the core that has the unfolding board? Okay. So,
yeah, they still came out with that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway...
So you're not special. You just have worse cards.
So anyway, Marvel Legendary, it's still the most grandiose deck builder out there right now.
All right, my number 3 is my most meta card game out there because it's technically a deck builder, but it's not. It's mainly deck construction, but it's not. It's a card game. It's called Millennium Blades, and it's a weird amalgamation of everything. It's a tournament style deck constructor. Like if you were going to go and do a tournament for Magic, where it's like where you're doing a can't remember what they call it, but you just open up packs and then you just draft from those packs. This game is so fun. It is so good. And it's extremely meta. It's a card game about a card tournament. And it does 2 phases. The first phase, it's in real time. It doesn't have to be, but real time. In all honesty, whenever you hear real time, you think, oh, stress-inducing. They give you so much time to find the cards. Because eventually you're going to run out of money. Right. And then you just like, all right, there's what I got. But yeah, so you do the first phase where you're like buying packs, which is really just buying a card. The backs of the cards look like a pack. And then you're just collecting these, and then you're like really trying to find a perfect, like, normally what I do is I'll just like kind of find the first couple cards. I'm like, boom, this is my theme. Let me work on this and see how well it does. And then once you do that, once the timer's out, because there's 3 rounds for that, then you have to decide, okay, like here's what's going in my deck, but like here's my accessory, here's my deck box, here's my what's going in kind of like my binder, and here's my 8 cards, because you only take 8 cards to the next phase. And then you can also sell some cards that'll give you money, and then you can also do like a set collection thing, which could get you some points. Then you go to phase 2, which is the tournament. This is where it's turn-based, where each person, one at a time, plays 1 card down like a row. So it's it's not really programming, but because like you play a card, it does an ability, but then the cards after, you want to put them in like almost an order where they're gonna combo off one another.
Right.
Where it's like, okay, this card, for example, this card I play here, if it's face up, it gives me 5 points. Okay, great. Then my second card I play, it's like copy the effect of your left card, and then it's like, okay, now I got 10 points here. But what's really cool is in the tournament phases, it's just whoever has the best combination. And then you don't get points off of that. You get ranking points, which are, okay, whoever has the most ranking points in the first tournament gets 7 points. Mm-hmm. Okay, you have the second most, you get 5. Third most, you get 3. Then you do another tournament. You go back to the drafting. And this is where you start to refine your strategy. You're like, okay, well, this card didn't combo. They have this. It's probably got that counters me. And then you go through that like you would an actual tournament. They have cards that are locations where it's like, hey, you're in a volcano, like, so it's going to have this effect. You're in a friendly local game store, it's going to have this effect. They have cards that are metas where it's like you get extra ranking points if you have soldiers and fire. It's so on the nose that this company, Level 99 Games, they do the same thing that Smash Up did, where it's like they have a Legend of Zelda deck And it's like, it's very obviously that, but they can't call it that.
Right.
They have Lord of the Rings, they have Mario Bros, they have Final Fantasy, and the amount, God, the comp, there's so much. Because you take a bunch of specific types of decks, and you put them in the store, and it's like the deck is like that big, and then you only go through so many that like whenever I store it, like I don't separate it out. I'm like, look, I'm never going to go through this. This is just what I'm going to use as my store for a while. But what's great about this is the company also did a massive Kickstarter, just like they did BattleCon, where it's going to all be stored in one box. And luckily for this one, there is a wooden insert that has stored it all really well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then that's just more. I keep getting emails from them of like cards that they've been working on and trying to streamline it. So yeah, like it had to go on the card games list. It's exactly that, just with more rules than Magic does.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
I haven't played that one yet.
I don't know if you would like it. I honestly have no clue.
I like deck construct, like I'm, with a lot of the attorneys I'd go to and stuff. I've done the whole draft.
Yeah.
Deals, like the people have made a cube for like Netrunner and stuff like
that.
that.
Oh, right.
So where you quickly draft and stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know.
So if you like that, then you probably would. You probably would like this. But yeah. So your number 2.
All right, my number 2 is the newest game on my list. I thought really long and hard if it was going to be my number 1, and that is Marvel Champions.
Yeah, there it is. There it is.
This one is my new. I've played this one so many times.
Yeah.
Recently, and I got the Black Widow. It came today in the mail.
Oh, nice.
Because
I don't have that.
Well, I do the subscriptions through Team Covenant, so
That's
they just mail it when they
get it.
I get it on release day.
That's right. Yeah.
But anyway, so you choose a hero or two. I usually will do 1 or 2.
Yeah,
anyway, because it's pretty easy to
using
keep
one.
track. And then you pick a bad guy, and you can play. You can make them as hard as you want. You can play epic level or whatever, and you're just trying to take them out. And there's different levels, Rhino is the initial guy, and you there's different objectives he's doing, so you take him out if you're playing the expert, and then you have to beat him twice or whatever to go, and he just gets that much tougher. They've come out with enough bad guys now to, like, the Green Goblin is fun to play against.
Yeah, I haven't fought against him yet.
I haven't tried the Wrecking Crew yet, just because you have all 4 of them out and you're taking them on
at
the same time and stuff.
That's the one has like was it Thunder Fist or whatever
their names are.
Shocker. Yeah, that's it. Thunder Fist. What the hell?
But what's cool about it is because it's got the whole deck construction thing like FFG does with their stuff. You can create your deck around if you want like justice or or I can't think of that, protection, aggression, yeah. And you build your decks with that. And what the cool mechanic is like you start the game off in alter ego mode. They're human forms. You're Tony Stark if you're Iron Man, and with him he has an ability on that side of the card, and the bad guy will not attack you in your alter ego form, but he'll advance his agenda. Yeah. And if that agenda gets advanced to a certain amount, he wins. Or if he kills you, obviously. So you have to balance whether you want to when you want to flip, because you can only flip once a turn.
Yeah.
So when you flip to your hero, then he's going to be coming after you. It happens with his minions that come out too. If you're an alter ego, they're going to advance the scheme.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of balance and stuff that you have to do. I enjoy playing Iron Man. He's my favorite still.
I was going to ask who your favorite was.
Just because I know it's a little slow off the beginning, but once you can get his suit equipment out, then you're just rolling, doing all kinds of stuff. I know Captain Marvel, she's really strong too if you get the right things out.
Yeah.
But when you end, I think the thing that is the best with this, with all the LCGs they've had come out, is you can just buy, like if you want if you're a Captain America nut, instead of buying every single pack that comes out, you can just buy Captain America that has all the cards for his deck in there. And each one of those come with a few cards that can be used with other deal, but you're pretty much the base of each hero is going to be the same on their deck, and then you just add in, with stuff. But it's just I you've played it.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have it. I mean, it's
I haven't played it as much as I'd like. But I keep buying everything for it because I do like it. I have played both. I played Spider-Man and Black Panther.
Yeah,
Black Panther's fun.
Black Panther's a lot like Iron Man. I mean, because
yeah.
you're trying to get your
his
things
suit out.
Yeah. But one thing I will say is, I mean, this sings as a solo game.
Yeah.
2-player at the max.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes I'll play as just one hero, or sometimes I'll play with 2. Don't go more than 2.
Yeah, I remember when Shut Up and Sit Down did their review over it.
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh man, it gets so number crunchy," and it's like, "Well, you probably play with 4 people."
Well, right, and because the hit points go up crazy.
Yeah,
because it's this amount per, and then and then it's like the scheme advances this much per player. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just there's so much stuff going on, and it makes the game drag on so far.
They had a pretty good point with playing with 4. Is that at one point the ending is anticlimactic because you can sit there and math it. Mm-hmm. Go, okay, this is going to do this and this and this, and okay, we win. And it's like, yeah, I mean, you can do that. You can do that with a lot of games.
Right.
Like I've played multiple Euro games where I've sat there and I'm like, guys, we're just going to stop here because I'm going to win.
Right.
Like there's nothing you guys can do, so I'm just not going to waste another hour. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's like, yeah, okay, with 4, the game probably wasn't designed for 4 people because it's only one bad guy. Of course, with 4 heroes against Rhino, really?
Yeah. Well, and then, so Doctor Strange comes out next month, Hulk comes out.
When do they do in their...
That's the month after, so that comes after. But that campaign, story mode deal...
Yeah.
I wasn't sure where they were going to go and doing the Rise of Red Skull, I think is what's called, or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So they're going to bring a lot of Hydra stuff in, and you've got, I think Spider Woman is one of the 2 heroes that come in it.
Okay.
And she's supposed to be badass from what I've been seeing in spoilers. So
I mean, they are doing
Hawkeye, and
they are doing a lot of the they have a few mainstream, of course, but like they're doing a lot of different heroes instead of
I never would have guessed She-Hulk would have been in the core set. Like I could see Black Panther, I could see Spider-Man, I could see Tony Stark.
Yeah, She-Hulk and Captain. Well, even I wouldn't even say Captain Marvel.
Well, with the movie coming out, I mean that's kind of people know her now. Like if the movie hadn't come out, that would have been.
But you're right, She-Hulk, and then because most of the time you don't think Black Panther or not Black Panther, you don't think Black Widow. In a core set like if the spoilers they're like Hawkeye. Like you would think they'd pick someone bigger out, but it's like, nope. Like you get all these other characters that never get talked about. So I do like that.
Hopefully, Black
Widow
can survive.
Huh?
Hopefully Black Widow can die.
You go one card. It's her death card. What the fuck? I paid $60 for this. But it's kind of like Cthulhu: Death May Die. You're not playing all the revamped. Wow, the Michael McGlenn again. That's pretty cool. It was Rasputin and just these other. It's like that was such a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. I just the combinations and that tense, the decisions that you have to know whether to allow for this, the scheme to advance or for them to attack you, because you could thwart scheme. That's the deal. Is you lower the scheme by thwarting. Or you attack him, so there's a lot of decisions that you make, and it's only going to get better, I think. I like it. Fantasy Flight does a great job with their LCGs, so they're giving up on their competitive LCGs.
Or I think so. I was wondering
they're going co-op all the way.
I was wondering if L5R was still going strong.
It's getting ready to stop here before long, I think.
And then you're right, Game of Thrones is done, Lord of the Rings is done. And Lord of the Rings was co-op.
Netrunner left.
Netrunner's done.
So it's pretty much just Arkham and
Marvel Champions. Yeah.
I think that's about...
I mean, because Fantasy Flight pretty much only does IPs. So, like, that's just what they do now. So, it's interesting. But, funny enough, I actually really liked the L5R card game. Like there were a lot of rules to it, so it wasn't as easy to jump into. But I also like that world. Yeah, Marvel Champions isn't on my list because I just hadn't played them enough. Right. I wish I have. I don't know why I haven't, but yeah, I really want to just try all the heroes. So my number 2 is our third crossover, and I think this is going to be the third one. So I was right. I was initially right. I assumed Elysium was going to be on your list. There's no way it's your number one. So I'm very surprised if it is, but I don't think it is. So my number 2 is Sorcerer. Yeah. This game, like, I have Magic on here and I have Smash Up on here. Sorcerer is both of those combined with a little bit of area control.
And it has a better. I like the theme.
Oh, I think no. I like the Magic theme way better than Sorcerer. At least Magic has a world. Sorcerer is just. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the dark, gritty fantasy. Love the artwork for it, but that's all it is. At least Magic has lore. But yeah, Smash Up doesn't have a theme. But yeah, Sorcerer. Everything you said, just it just sings like I've had. I've played so many games of this, trying just different combinations of those 3, which. Taking 3 decks and combining them into one, you would sound like it'd be too much, that there wouldn't be any like combinations, it'd be just too broad. But no, it works out really well. The fact that you have a bunch of minions that can go on these areas that have abilities that can only go off if your guy is there just adds another element. The game does have dice for its combat. Like, it doesn't bother me. I do wish they came up with a more clever way of actually dealing with combat versus just rolling and hoping. But they do give you a ton of ways to mitigate the dice. So it's not that bad. Like, never once have I played a game of Sorcerer, and I've played it quite a bit, where the dice were the ultimate factor in it. Just because you roll and it's like, okay, I got 6 hits, and then they're like, okay, we'll re-roll those
tons
2.
Of omens.
Yeah, and some decks are all about omens, and then you can even look at it and be like, okay, so now I rolled their miss, now it's 4 hits, and then it's like one of them's a crit, so I get to assign that. The other 3 damage, you decide where it goes. Yeah, it's fantastic. I love this game so much. We still need to play it against one another to see how it works.
I like I think it's called the Animus.
Oh, the one that uses their cards.
Yeah, you just eat their card. I love that.
It's so nasty. Like that comes from the designer being a pro Magic player, because that's essentially this game's way of milling the opponent, which I love mill decks in Magic. And what's cool is, like, it's not busted. Like, it's not like, okay, well, I mean, there were times though whenever I was playing it, my friend was playing with, and he just kept vamping up his beast, and I'm like, okay, well, my deck's getting kind of low. Like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, but I ended up pulling out the win, but barely, because my deck had like 15 cards left, and I'm like, well, I don't want to use this action. I also love the fact that, like, you have actions that let you draw.
That's what I was going to say. Well, you have actions that let you gain energy, draw.
Yeah.
So you're not hindered by.
Yeah, you don't get mana screwed, or you don't get like, well, I could have done well if I drew this card.
If you need energy to be able to play cards, you can take 2 actions to gain to channel energy.
Yeah,
to be able to do something.
There's that resource spending where you're like, okay, well, this card is 8 energy. I have 8, but I'm not gonna be able to do anything after getting it. And there are some cards where it's like, I got my 8. Okay, I'm gonna play this. That means to bump it back to your hand. It's like, I hate you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I can't wait for the expansion. I just want more for this.
It's gonna be wonderful.
And the campaign, that sounds really cool. So, that's my number 2, Sorcerer.
All right. My number 1.
Android. Yeah, I'm like, there's no way it's not your number 1.
It almost
Elysium.
No. It almost got eclipsed by Champions, and it quite possibly will, just because since Netrunner's dead and everything. But yeah,
it's not dead. You could still play it. You sold all your stuff, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, never mind. You can't play it.
Android Netrunner was my game, my lifestyle game. You know, I played it competitively for years. And
always came in last, which was weird. No, I'm kidding.
The very first tournament I did, and what was cool and what kept me in the scene was because I went to my very first tournament in Kansas City, and I was playing against, because Kansas City had a pretty good scene back then.
Okay.
I got dead last.
And you cried.
And I got the...
your mom came and picked you up, right?
The DFL... I got a DFL prize, dead fucking last prize, and it was like all these cool tokens.
Oh, that's pretty. That's neat.
And it was because they were welcoming me into the deal, and then from then on, I'm like, this is awesome.
That is
because
really
the community for Netrunner was top notch. I had friends from Kansas City, from Springfield, Tulsa, just because of this game, and I'm still friends with them.
That's cool.
And everything. And,
it's not like cancerous like the Magic tournament.
I've never been of all the Netrunner tournaments I've been to over the years. I've never had an asshole in them. They're all everybody's good. Everybody's good to new players. You know?
Were they always at like local game stores, or were they actually in like, because like the Magic ones, they're in arenas?
Oh no, these were in game stores.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
The Covenant store.
Okay, so like the tournaments I've been to with Magic were at local game stores. They were always nice because they're just hobby really players. It's where those big ones where it's like you have to pay an entry fee to get in, and it's like these snobby, weeby, nasty motherfuckers.
No, I went. My best I ever did was I got 4th at a regionals.
Oh, nice.
Which regionals covered. We had people from Dallas, Minnesota, everybody there, you know.
Nice.
But in Netrunner, asynchronous. You play 2 games within an hour and 10-minute time limit is what most of it was. You play as the hack computer, the runner, which is the computer hacker, as one game, and then you play as the corporation the other. The corporation is trying to advance agendas to win or kill the runner. The runner is trying to steal agendas or mill out the corp to win. And it's so many different runners, so many corporation, different deals. And,
I've played that game once with you.
Yes.
Lost very badly.
It was just perfect because it had the hidden information of the corp, putting down the protection, and they could put traps and stuff, and it's just there was just something about the game. And I know I sold it and everything, but it's still, I just sold it because nobody plays it anymore. It was no point in me even having it anymore. I can play it online because there's still a online
community
rendering of it, so you can play it on that. But yeah, so Android Netrunner, it may eventually get taken out by Champions, possibly, just because I can actually still play it.
What was that? Wasn't there a Warhammer game that did something similar to that with like the lanes?
Well, there was a Warhammer Champions.
Okay.
And I bought some of that, but it was a CCG type game.
Oh, okay.
Where you had to buy packs.
Yeah.
And then you attacked down lanes. And you had these things.
But didn't they release something that was completely busted and like they had no plans on fixing it? Was that the game? Okay.
Yeah, and because it was on my top 100 there at one point first year because I had quite a bit of it, and then it just was stupid. Because you could play it, you could download your cards. To the app, and then you could play the game on the app as well.
Gotcha.
And they did not manage the leveling.
The balance.
It was just ridiculous.
Pretty cool.
But yeah. So anyway, Android Netrunner.
All right.
Old oldie.
What's my number one?
Arkham
Horror.
Yeah.
3rd edition. Yep, you're right. The board game.
LCG.
It's actually Eldritch Horror. I love those cards in that game. Yeah, Arkham Horror living card game is my number one. This was hard, actually, to decide, like, between Millennium Blade Sorcerer and Arkham, honestly. Like, those 3 games for card games are phenomenal. But I think, one, my love for H.P. Lovecraft, and him as a person, he was great. His world, I love the Cthulhu universe. And the story elements, like the engaging story, the fact that it's like everything is cards, you move around, the scene or the scenario, trying to find clues that allow you to complete an objective. It's such an engaging story, and what's cool is they also make scenarios dynamic. Where there's one that everyone always talks about, but it's so cool, is that there's one on a train where you're trying to advance the train as a lot of it's getting ripped up into a void. And then it also has the deck constructing that I always start out. I think you can start out with you can just start with people who build their decks. I like getting the person and just giving them the starting deck, and then you construct that as you go, because you get XP that you can use to spend on better cards, but you always have to have a certain amount of cards in your deck. So by halfway through the campaign, you're like, man, like it's getting really difficult on what you should take out. But I have done 2 full campaigns, the core box and then the Dunwich Horror one. The one thing I wish that you could do is that if you could carry your hero over from one campaign to the next, you technically, I think, can, but by the time, because if certain things will give you physical traumas and mental traumas, which will, when you start the scenario, you start with that much damage. If you ever hit your max, you get ejected. You become exhausted and you can't play that scenario. But over time, like, I remember by the time we were in the last 3 or 4 two or three scenarios in the Dunwich Horror one. I was playing Roland Banks, who had like 5 mental health, and I had like 3 traumas. So I'd already started off with 3. So the entire, like, my friend would be moving around, and I'm just sitting here playing cards to get rid of my mental trauma, till I can be like, take pills and drink whiskey, and then be like, all right, I'm ready. It got insane, but there's so much for this.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is I had the core box of this at one point, but then I was kind of over the Lovecraft stuff at that point, and I got rid of it.
As most people are.
But I want to get it now.
Yeah.
But there's too much out.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, that's the great thing. Is like, it's not a CCG; it's an LCG. So
that's one of the reasons people quit playing Netrunners, because there were so many packs out at that time.
Right.
People.
It's like, you don't have to buy it all at once, or you can, and just in one lump sum. But it's like, get the core box and then get the Dunwich Horror, and then you're like, that's enough content for a while. And then over time, just get the packs, because then they release a big box. They actually just announced the Innsmouth one, so they are really going all in on this. And I have so much. Everything is sleeved. I have all the books that they released for this that give you a few extra cards and alternate for some heroes. I love this game. It's so good. That it had to be my number one, because out of all of these, this is the only one with story. And just has solid gameplay around it too. That is still being supported by the company. So yeah, that's my number one. So those are our top 10 card games, everyone. Let us know what your favorite card games are in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.